Hey y'all, I'm Tim. Welcome to the Mr. Maple Show.
Hey guys, I'm Matt at Mr. Maple. Make sure to like, subscribe, and if you can, share this with your gardening friends. It's one small share for you, but it goes a great way for us sharing our passion for gardening with others. So we greatly appreciate that.
We often get lots of questions at MrMaple.com, and we try to do our best to answer these through many videos. Today we're doing that with this question of what is a linearilobum Japanese maple?
Hey guys, come on up here. Let's get a close-up look at this, and we'll explain to you a little bit more about the nuances of this leaf.
So, a linearilobum Japanese maple is a really cool plant. We're often just talking, when we say linearilobum, about this strap-like foliage. This foliage is really elongated and real pointy in its nature.
So oftentimes this category is considered strap leaf in America, but they do have an original Latin name and a really interesting, habit to them. They could actually get separated out into their own subcategory of Japanese maples.
And the thing we've learned about a lot of these plants, whenever linearilobum styles push out a lot of new growth, we learn that during the summer flushes that these are actually in that amenum category. I mean, this is such a cool plant because amenums you think of like an Osakazuki, but this is the exact opposite effect with a linearilobum, where instead of having that larger, wider leaf, you've got a very thin, elongated foliage. And this gives a very bamboo-like feel out in the landscape and garden. That's why there's cultivars like Biniotaki, which translate as red bamboo. The one we're looking at here, we believe, is Scolopendrifolium. I mean, this plant is electric out here in the landscape with some really good fall colors. It's funny because when people start collecting the linearilobum style Japanese maples, they often start a whole collection of linearilobums.
Right.
They become addicting.
They work great in Asian gardens because they do provide that whimsical kind of bamboo airy feel to the garden. There's something kind of magical about them in the landscape. For a lot of folks, it feels very much like an upright lace leaf. It encapsulates a lot of what they love about lace leaves, but in an upright tree form with a lot of variability to them. There's a huge section here, so there's a lot of different plants you can look at, and it just gives a really graceful, elegant approach here in the landscape. Now, they're actually quite durable plants, even though they might look kind of dainty.
And the thing about this leaf, it is so thin and narrow and elongated that this makes the tree have a very open appearance. And this is the case with many of those linearilobum styles, especially if they're in a slightly shaded location. It makes you can really look in and see the branching and the structure on a lot of linearilobum styles because of that.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of this style. It just gives a graceful appearance here in the landscape. A great palette for some of these fall colors as well. And it's super unique. I mean, we'll have to catch a shot of some of these on the ground. They actually look quite cinematic, I think, just, covering the ground with this interesting carpet. It looks like little footprints almost in the landscape. It's certainly something that adds a lot to our ability to garden because it gives us a whole different texture. We pair a lot of Japanese maples with other Japanese maples here, and this one adds a whole new texture to the garden, and it really gives you some upright, whimsical appeal, and it just has that Asian feel. I think it really gives you something that brings out the Asian garden appeal for sure.
And like you talked about being whimsical, it really just flows in the wind so poetically because of those long leaves, those long lobes on each leaf.
Yeah.
It really has a nice wind effect out in the landscape and garden. And there's selections like Pung Kill, which name may actually translate to something like swept in the wind because of that linearilobum, that bamboo-like, that strap leaf type leaf.
Now here's a little tip for your producers. Even though this one may be an Acer palmatum subspecies Amoenum, you're only going to want to graft your linearilobums to Acer palmatum subspecies palmatum. It makes a huge difference in the long-term leaf shape. Oftentimes grafting to an Amoenum is going to push larger foliage out, and you're going to have less desirable, larger foliage from within. Or if this is grafted to an Acer palmatum subspecies palmatum, you're going to have a very beautiful, elongated strap leaf plant.
And if you see on an Acer linearilobum style pushing larger new growth out in the spring, sometimes that can be an issue. If you see that during the summer, that may be summer irregular growth, and we have a whole video just on irregular growth on Japanese maples that covers that with the linearilobum styles.
We hope you love linearilobum Japanese maples. This gives you a little bit better explanation of what those are. They could be their own subcategory. Maybe we'll talk about sessilifoliums here on our channel if that's something you like too. They're kind of forgotten genres of Japanese maples. It could be its own thing like lace leaf Japanese maples are, and you could have your own section called just linearilobum Japanese maples. We love them. There's a whole litany of interesting cultivars and you can definitely check those out on MrMaple.com.
Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Take care.
God bless.
And have a great day.